thank you everyone for taking time out of your schedules, especially our head coaches who are joining us tonight. So again, this is the National Team Development Program Town Hall for our upcoming indoor winter training series. So here on this slide, you'll see the NTDP team. So this is our staff kind of working out of USA Volleyball in Colorado Springs, kind of putting together these programs and training series for you. So starting on the top left, we have Peter Vint, who is our Chief of Sport, Aaron Virtue, who cannot make the call tonight, but is our director and also our assistant coach for the women's senior team. Chris Berzins, who is on the call, is our senior manager. Carolina Garbato, also known as Gabby Garbato, many of you most likely know as well from the beach side. She is our beach manager. Todd Falds is on the call with us tonight as our performance pathway lead. Cody Liner helps out Garbato on the beach side as a beach coordinator. Nicole Segura is on the call tonight as our athlete development lead, and we'll be talking about our academy and those resources. Elliot Blake is our sitting manager, and I'm the indoor boys and communications lead. So for tonight, here's the agenda that we'll be running through, starting with an introduction of our head coaches, where we'll move through the mission statement and overview, get some brief logistics, and then talk about some of the resources that we provide athletes participating in NTDP training series. So first and foremost, just again, a big note of gratitude to our head coaches, and I'll allow them to introduce themselves, starting with Jamie Morrison. Just say a few words about the program and introduce himself. So Jamie, you're up.
Yeah, appreciate it. And thank you guys all for being on. I know things are getting busy with the holiday season. And for giving up 4 days of your Christmas break. I know it's time that, is valuable to everybody. So my name is Jamie Morrison. I'm going to be coaching the U18 girls portion of this NTDP training series. And I guess my short blurb is this: I was an assistant coach with the U.S. national team, and while I was there, I was always a little bit underwhelmed that our high performance department wasn't necessarily about development. And there was a brave move made about a year ago to change that and to rectify that. And I was a part of this last U18 cycle as the head coach of that, and I can tell you it's just that now. These training blocks are about giving little tidbits of what the national team is training so that the athletes can go back home and practice on those. And the hope of winning, and I guess the overall hope is to add another gold medal to the women's side and another gold medal to the men's side at the Olympic level, and to get your daughters, your sons to that place. So, and I can speak to that and knowing this different sides of different things. So that's why I'm passionate about it. I'm really stoked to be a part of it. The last little cycle that I had, even though it was shortened by COVID, was a really special group. I still stay in touch with the athletes that were a piece of that. And I think we made each other better during that. So both athletes got better, and I thought I got better as a coach and a human. So excited for this opportunity. I'm sorry for a little gleam of sweat on my forehead. I just hopped out of practice, and I'm going to have to hop back in here in 1 second. But really fired up and excited to be a part of this group, and I can't wait to get this group of young women out to Anaheim and get training.
Awesome. Thanks, Jamie. That's awesome. And no need to apologize. Good luck with practice. Rob, you can be up next here to introduce yourself and say a little bit about the program.
Right. Yeah. My name is Rob Browning, and I will be leading the U18, U19 group for this training session, winter training series. Congratulations to all of you. It's really quite an accomplishment to make this group. We have an outstanding group of coaches for both boys and girls, both age groups. And you're really fortunate to be able to have time to work with these coaches that we've got coming in. And we coaches feel really fortunate. It's quite an honor to coach such wonderful athletes like you. We're really looking forward to it. Congratulations again for being included in this group, and look forward to seeing you December 27th.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. And Lindsay, if you want to go next.
Sure. 2 tough acts to follow, but I'll hop in and see what I can do. My name is Lindsay Brown, and I'll be heading up the U17, U18 boys training series here in a couple days. And I am ecstatic for the opportunity to work with both this group of athletes as well as a really star-studded cast group of coaches that we've assembled too. We have some really exciting stuff planned, plenty of serving and serve receive, hoping to dive a little deeper into some quick pick offense, as well as both technical and schematic blocking and defensive toolkits as well. And mostly just looking forward to seeing everybody in sunny California instead of my dimly lit kitchen here in Northeast Indiana through a computer screen. So thank you guys. I'm looking forward to meeting everybody.
Definitely agree with you there, Lindsay. Looking forward to it. And Nick, if you want to bring us home.
Yep, my name is Nick McCray, and I'm your men's U20 head coach. To reiterate what the coaches have already said, a reminder, flex and smile, and congratulations for being invited to this program. To go off what Coach Rob said, a reminder of the staff. It's built up of Olympians, gold medalists, and coaches from the international cycle, the NCAA Division 1, 2, and 3 levels, and the NAIA championship levels. And my point in kind of flexing all of that from the coaching standpoint, it's to remind all of our athletes and parents that our primary intent is to give you every resource we have and to help every athlete we encounter be equipped to accomplish your goals. Other than that, a little shout out to the boys. I look forward to reading all of your self-assessments. That's a reminder to get those in, because we will do our due diligence and go through them all before we start the program. And again, congratulations and go USA.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick. And yes, congratulations to all the athletes and your invitations. We're looking forward to meeting you guys on the ground here soon. So with that, thank you, head coaches. We'll move into the mission statement now and an overview of the NTDP. I'll turn that over to our senior manager, Chris Berzins, to talk more to those pieces.
Thanks, Jordan. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. We know your time is super valuable here. As you can see, our coaches are fired up, and they're an additional thank you to all of them as well for spending their valuable time with us. Jamie Morrison is hopping out of his practice right now to address you all because he's so fired up for the winter training series. But before I keep getting too far down that line or too far down a certain rabbit hole, we want to talk about what we're kind of, we find value and want to talk about what type of opportunity we're trying to prepare for you all. And first of all, I want to echo quite a few of them in saying congratulations for having the opportunity and taking that opportunity to be with us during the winter training series. You all have been recommended and identified by our NTDP scouting network for this opportunity. And but at the same time, we understand that that decision comes with a lot of trade-offs, especially during the holiday season. So we appreciate you spending your time with us in the gym. And so what we want to do with that is take advantage of every training opportunity that we have. Our NTDP program isn't the gym that you spend the most amount of time in during a given year. So we really want to be intentful and mindful with what we're training and trying to align the training programs of both vertically and horizontally. As Jamie mentioned in his kind of brief talk there, in the past, some criticisms of the program had been that, you know, it really focused on bringing athletes together, competing and evaluating them, putting them into depth charts, and kind of just saying, see you later until maybe next year, right? And what we're trying to do with hosting more events, ideally quarterly, as well as a few of our off-court resources, is to not only put more touch points on the map to be able to refresh some of these skills that our senior national team staffs, as well as our coaches here, have identified at the age group national team level and at the NCAA level that will have success in the international game. For instance, having 6 rotation outside hitters, pretty critical when you only have 6 subs. Having opposites that can play the back row when you really can't do much more than a double switch other than one time during each set is something that we want to really make sure that our training focuses are aligned with. And as I was mentioning, what we'd like to do to make sure that those skills are refreshed more often is provide more opportunities quarterly. And one of those opportunities right now is our winter training series that's coming up here. But in between those training series, what's really important, as Nick McCray mentioned, is Apollo and our athlete self-assessment. That's the one of the tools that we will make sure that all NTDP athletes and coaches are familiarized with after this winter training series. I hope that our returning summer and fall athletes have found value in that ongoing conversation and platform for feedback. Our NTDP Academy, you've received some videos regarding nutrition, resetting between plays, and some videos also that align with our big rocks for training for the winter training series. Those are extensive and provide a lot of coaching cues for those skills that we're kind of attacking as major themes for this training block. So I really hope that you're brushing up on those. As Nick mentioned, there will be some checks on being able to figure out who's done the prep work. And so with that, right, what do these systems provide? Whether that's NTDP Academy, which has our learning modules, and in 5 pillars. I'm gonna not steal too much thunder from my colleagues who will chat about that a little bit later. Apollo, our athlete feedback system, and then Huddle will be a system where we record the training sessions. We have them online and available to the athletes. Athletes will have a unique number, and that video will be analyzed by Huddle so that athletes can quickly view every one of their back row attack actions as an opposite, right? Which I don't know how many of our club mates or club teams provide that opportunity, right? For all of you, that's a critical skill at the international level for opposites, and something that Aaron Virtue for the women's side and John Spera on the men's side are looking for in all of their young athletes to develop. And so what we want to do with those 3 platforms is really build and strengthen the connective tissue between our 4 touch points during the year. If we can continue to make sure that our athletes go back to their club or their high school gyms with many of the cues and the feedback that some of those coaches worked on with them at these opportunities, and be able to actualize those and work on those every time they step in the gym, they'll be that much more competitive when they return, should they be selected for an age group national team and have the opportunity there, or for another training series as we continue to go forward throughout the year. So really those 3 tools are going to be something that we really ask our athletes to dive headfirst into, because our coaches will be going after it as well through those 3 mediums to be able to really provide off-court learning opportunities for our athletes beyond just the program, and continue to drive value to you all. With that, let's go ahead and jump to the Winter Training Series Big Rocks. So our coaches will dive into specific cues in each kind of big area that we'll be focusing on. And as we mentioned, we addressed a few of these cues in some of our program themes and some front loading of information and academy videos. But again, serving and passing for the boys specifically, really making sure that we're understanding the differences in system and setup for our jump float and jump spin reception, big quick combinations and the nuances of that at the international level, our block and defense systems, and specifically really working on the differences in opportunities in our blocker toolkit when the opponent is in system, and conversely as well when our opponent is in a tougher situation and we're looking to get 3 blockers up. And then additionally, being able to have our middle offense be a threat as the volleyball continues back and forth across the net. Next, for the girls program themes, again, serving will be a major focus. I don't know if anyone has had the opportunity to watch Jamie Morrison teach serving and jump float serving at the highest level, but having been with the Netherlands national team and having coached with 2 of the best serving countries in the world, he's going to bring a huge impact there. And then passing wise, Tama Miyashiro will be on staff and is highlighted in our Passing Serve Reception Academy video that will be going out. And that is primarily focused, and that emphasis will be on picking a side and really being able to identify visually which side of your body as a serve receiver you want to take that volleyball, and that decision-making process. Back row attack for the women's side, it'll also include some nuances with the slide attack and 2-hitter rotations and how that is worked out at the international level. And then for U20 specifically, we'll also be working on middles being a focal point of their offense in transition, as that's something that is extremely critical as they jump from U18 to U20, as identified by our national team staffs. Go ahead, Jordan. Next one. Again, talked about it kind of at the beginning a little bit here, but hoping to align vertically. So with our senior national team staffs, our NTDP is now part of the same department as our national teams. Sounds pretty common sense, but it's great to be able to align our training objectives with what the senior national team staffs are hoping for. And then additionally, our coach education department is currently in rebrand mode, what we went through last year, and more to come from them. And then additionally as well, what we're hoping to do is align horizontally. So one of the biggest aspects of our program in years past was that our national team staffs were often separated from the training series level of the development program, right? What was the HP program? There wasn't a ton of synergy between the two. Oftentimes other coaches were given opportunities there, but we really want to make sure that a member from every age group national team staff is there with their age group at every training series event. So for this event, you have Lindsey Brown, who's on staff, as well as Charlie Sullivan will be with the boys, and they're part of the U19 staff. Nick McCrae is head coaching the older age group, and he is also the head coach of the U20 group. And then you have Jamie Morrison, who will be head coaching the younger girls group, which is U16, U17 right now, and will be U18. Don't worry, we can explain that in an email if anyone's confused by that. I'm not going to spend too much more time here, already getting long-winded explaining FIVB birth years, but Jamie Morrison is your U18 head coach. And then Dan Fisher will be in for a period of time. He is your U20 head coach, and he's been in direct consultation with Rob Browning throughout the preparation here for this event. So next slide, Jordan. Just another kind of area, as Nick mentioned, we are continuing to try to vertically align with our national team. So that's bringing you coaches that have experience playing for the national team and have experience coaching at a variety of levels, whether that's the national team, international level, NCAA Division I, Division II, Division III, or NAIA. We want to find those coaches out there that have that experience that'll be able to bring that and harness that for you. So that is all for me for now, and I promise not to be too long-winded on huddle later. So moving on.
No worries. Thank you, Chris. So I'll start to just kind of go over a brief run through of our program logistics. So by now, many of you have received emails from me kind of receiving access to our program manual, which all of this information that we're sharing is summarized and recapped within there. So if you didn't receive that in prior emails or this morning, I'll definitely send another follow-up email tomorrow. And any questions you have, we're happy to help. But for the program dates and location, as many of you already may know, this will be taking place December 27th through the 30th, and will be at the National Training Center, or the ASC, as it was formerly known, during that time in Anaheim. So it's going to be a commuter program model. This just means that all athletes, staff, and coaches are responsible for their own housing accommodation, and athletes are required to check in and out of training sessions. This is also for this winter specifically. We're providing for athletes, which I'll speak a little bit more to on the next slide, who are identified by both beach and indoor scouts to kind of have a hybrid training model. So half of their time in California will be split on the indoor side, and the other half of their program on the final 2 days of the program will be with the beach side. And so if you're one of those athletes, and we're going to cover primarily indoor programming with this meeting, if you have any questions after this, you can reach out to myself or Cody Liner, which I gave you our contacts earlier this morning. But I'll talk a bit about the program schedule, specifically on that indoor side for this meeting, where we're going to have the first training session on the 27th, start right at noon for the boys indoor. So again, prior to each session, we're asking that you check in on the training site at least an hour before practice starts. So at 11 a.m. on that first day at the National Training Center, or the ASC, we'll see you guys there and be able to check you in and hand over your kit for the program. The first training session for the girls will start at 2:30. So likewise, around 1:30, that's when we would want to have girls showing up so that we can get you checked in for the program. hand off your kit, and we'll go forward from there. So the entirety of the training program schedule can be located in that program manual. Just wanted to emphasize those initial check-in days or check-in times. And what we'll be doing, which we're including a lot more intently than we did with fall, is the inclusion of just off-court meeting times. So again, in that program manual, you'll see your specific meeting time and that assignment. All of those meetings will be conducted either at the Radisson Blu right across the street from the National Training Center or in the National Training Center Cafe. And your head coaches will know where to direct you during those times. For this program, we're also excited to say that Baller TV will be streaming. So if you're on this call as a parent, or if you're an athlete and you have siblings, or you're on this call as a coach contact of the athletes, you'll be able to watch the streams, and we'll definitely push that information out as it becomes available. And we're excited to include that. It wasn't something that we could carry over from summer into fall, but we have it back for winter. So the last piece that I'll touch base on is more specific to COVID-19 and the considerations, recommendations, and requirements that we'll have there. So safety first, as always, is it's a strategic priority of USA Volleyball. And with that, we just ultimately want to ensure the safety of all participants. So our plan is intended to reduce the risk of potential transmission, but it doesn't guarantee that transmission or exposure won't occur. So at any time, if any athlete or coach is uncomfortable attending the event, we always respect the right for an athlete or coach to opt out, and can certainly be flexible there. All of these policies are subject to change at any time, but here's ultimately what we'll be, this is what we will be recommending highly. So prior to the program, we just highly recommend full vaccination, or also taking a negative test within 72 hours of arrival if it's a PCR test, or a negative test within 24 hours if it's an antigen rapid test. So this is just following the recommendations of California's Department of Health, as well as our own considerations that we have for the National Training Center. Once on site, we will, however, be mandating a symptom screening, where we'll send you just straight to your phone via text. We'll be able to use Apollo as our system to just send you a quick survey where you can fill out a questionnaire of your symptoms. So it takes about less than a minute, and all athletes, coaches, and staff will do that prior to their first activity each day. And we'll be sure to follow up and just make sure that everyone has that completed before we begin the first training session of the morning, or if it's a classroom time, your first classroom time of the morning. We will also be having a mask mandate regardless of vaccination status while training. Again, this is us just being very respectful that this is our senior team gym, that the staff still work out of the program, or out of this program space. And we just want to be respectful of their space and their requirements, as well as the recent mask mandate that came up in California. Other than that, basic physical distancing guidelines, so 6 feet apart when possible, when not training. So this could be classroom space, as well as just when you're being addressed by coaches. We'll work to uphold physical distancing guidelines, and we'll also have plenty of hand sanitizer and cleaning solution located throughout the program. The last piece I have to say there is that we do allow spectators. So any coaches or recruiters or scouts, parents, and family, if you want to come and observe, you're certainly more than welcome. We just ask that you follow the same mask mandate and social distancing guidelines when possible. But again, all of those details are available much more in depth within the program manual in the COVID section. And if you have any questions about that at the end with the live Q&A, or if you want to talk about it offline, we're more than happy to make ourselves available and do as such. So I'll talk a little bit about here with our scouting network, just a bit more on the identification. For the coaches who are listening in on this call, and for new athletes and families who haven't had this talk yet or haven't been able to seen it, or been able to listen to it, on the left side is just a quick QR code. If you wanted to scan that with your phone or take a look at it later, that'll take you to the article that we have on our scouting network. Essentially, the identification process for these rosters and for the boys and girls who are participating in the NTDP are driven by a list of highly talented and resourceful scouts that we trust, and they have national scope. And what you'll see on the right is a graphic of their location and how they are spread throughout the country. So again, the idea is all of these scouts that we have across beach and indoor, again, across boys and girls as well, they're supposed to have national scope. So they're not limited specifically to their area, and they're not limited to any event that they are allowed to attend or utilize when carrying out scouting for USA Volleyball. So we trust on their expertise, and our senior teams trust on them too to help us identify the rosters, and to which that's again another congratulations on your end of being invited and identified by the Scouting Network for this programming. So that's enough from me there. And what I'll do is, if you have any questions on what I spoke about, please feel free to follow up after the call. But otherwise, I'll turn it over to Nicole to start speaking a little bit more about the athlete resources that we have in terms of the Ntdp Academy.
Thanks, Jordan. And for those of you who I haven't had a chance to speak with, I know it's still virtual and most of you are just little bubbles on my screen. I can't even see your face, but I want to introduce myself. I'm Nicole Segura. I'm the athlete development lead here over at USA Volleyball in the National Team Development Program. And I, again, want to congratulate all of you on being selected and taking this opportunity to come learn from some of the best in the world at this training. And again, for everyone on this call, everyone listening in afterwards, and everyone attending, just so grateful for your time and energy that you put forth. We don't take it for granted. And I just want to emphasize that again. With the Academy, for those of you who are less aware, the Ntdp Academy is an online resource that we've created where we've made an effort to curate resources or create resources that support the 5 pillars of the USAV development philosophy, which is craft, body, mind, heart, and team. And so within that, we have coursework that we've developed alongside our national team staffs that lean on the expertise of our national team coaches, athletes, including alum, and other trusted experts in their respective spaces. So what we've done is we've given some recommendations and also asked for some specific videos to be watched that should be in information that Jordan has passed along, or maybe Todd has passed along to you. But with that, our intention is to help you be more confident and more prepared when you join us at the training series. And then it's also a resource both for the coaches coming in on staff, as well as the athletes coming into the program to be able to reference after the fact. So you'll maintain access to this resource at least throughout the next year, even if you don't join us for whatever reason again in the spring or just another opportunity. So it's not something that's kind of temporary for you. We're trying, like others mentioned earlier, to really support your development, especially as you leave us and go back home. We want to make sure that you have the tools that you need to get the absolute most out of this training experience that you can, and then you can continue to nurture that. If one of your coaches in the feedback that you get through Apollo after the program recommends that you focus on a specific cue, we want to have that library built and available for you at no cost so that you can go learn more about that and continue to have some really constructive conversations with your coaches back home. As such, those coaches that you've completed to be your primary contact or your secondary contact as a coach, we have extended, you should have gotten an email from me, or your coach should have gotten an email from me that had a unique discount code to give access to the Ntdp Academy. For those of you that are coaches listening onto this call, it's not going to be at the same depth as our new coaching education platform that's going to roll out next year. But we want you to see what the athletes are seeing. That's so crucial to us, to be able to work together and to be transparent in those lessons that we're sharing with the athletes. So with that, all of our coaches, all of our athletes, all of your coaches back home should be able to view this resource, engage with it, ask us questions. We just released 3 new courses this month, and we'll have more early in the year. And we're just going to continue to add and engage with our national team staff and athletes to provide a deeper perspective that can help you with your training and to help you achieve your goals. So with that, I am going to drop my email in the chat here as I wrap up and kick it back over to Chris to talk about Huddle. And please don't hesitate, whether it's a technical issue, a just curiosity question, a comment, anything like that that you feel would be valuable for us to know, or that you're struggling with or being challenged with, please reach out to me so that I can help you sooner rather than later. I won't be on site with you all in the winter, but I know that everyone on staff there from our national office can absolutely support you or get in touch with me if needed. So please don't hesitate to ask them on site too, but we want to make sure that you can access that coursework that's been recommended and that you can be fully prepared to train in Anaheim. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to Chris to talk about Huddle. And like I said, I'll drop my email here in the chat so you can reach out with questions.
Thanks, Nicole. As I prefaced kind of in the beginning with the mission overview as well as the big rocks, our training sessions will be recorded and then analyzed on Huddle. Every athlete by gender, by age group will have a unique number that they'll be wearing on their pinny that will be associated with their ability to quickly collect and view their collective actions from a variety of training sessions once that becomes available through Huddle analysis. Your invitation for that platform will be coming by the end of the week, and I will be your contact person or point of contact for troubleshooting any issues there, whether it's your, if you already have a Huddle account, sometimes that has shared information with the NTDP one. We'll make sure that you're all aligned with your unique numbers as we approach the training. I will be on site to troubleshoot anything that's going on there in the event that it isn't able to be rectified virtually, but I'll also be available leading up to the program to troubleshoot any situations that you might have to make sure that we hit the ground running with that platform at the training program. So I'm going to drop my email in the chat as well, and feel free to use that if you have any questions about Huddle. Todd, would you like to go with Apollo?
Can do. Thanks, Chris, and look, thanks everyone for your time this evening. We'll try not to be overly repetitive with many of the things that have been mentioned, but we'll touch on just a few things. First and foremost, though, before we start, thank you to those families that have booked at the Radisson Blu Hotel and made the most of the family rates that have been offered there. The Radisson is a valued partner of ours, and they value and appreciate the support of the Ntdp community as well. So a huge thanks for supporting the partnership with the Radisson. Quickly, a welcome to the new athletes. We've got a good percentage of new athletes joining us for this program, which is great. So it's tremendous to have you as part of the Ntdp family, and we look forward to you joining us in the National Training Centre in Anaheim in under 2 weeks now. So quickly touching on Apollo, for those of you that have had experience with it beforehand, you know now that it's USA Volleyball's athlete and management information system. In addition to the program feedback, it's also used for daily COVID screenings, which will be sent to the mobile device, or the cell number, I should say, sorry, pardon my terminology, that you've provided to us. So make sure that we have those details, please, so you can do your daily COVID screenings. As has been indicated, the athlete self-assessments are an important part of the overall Ntdp experience. Critically, in these programs, with there only being such a short period of time with you, the more the coaches can get to know and understand about you prior to the programming, the greater the ability for you to develop a relationship with them on site is. So the information that you can provide in there is critical. And the information that we've received from all the responses we've received from some of the athletes so far, some of the returning athletes, has been nothing short of incredible. So thank you for taking the time and working with your coaches and at club and high school to really make that a comprehensive process in those responses. So I also make it a point to read all of them as they come in. So with 200 in the indoor winter training series this year, there's quite a bit there to get through, but they're important to us, so we make a point to do so. And to be honest, in sharing some of the information with the staff, we're humbled with the impact that the programming and the academy and the coaches and our philosophy of creating quality developmental environments has had to date. So thank you for your attention to those. And as you can tell through the theme in the meeting so far, we do strive to continually get better from program to program. And you know us quite well that we do operate with a relentless pursuit of better mindset, and that comes through in everything that we do. So the important thing with Apollo, it is where your program feedback will be captured. So there'll be a series of information and instructions to follow in the next week regarding how to access those. And the feedback is not just a few lines for the sake of providing commentary. The coaches do really invest their time and effort and their energies in getting to know you on site and providing feedback that can help you beyond the program. So please make sure that you do have access to Apollo. If there's any concerns getting access to it, please let me know. But the feedback from this program will be generic program feedback, and it will also be 3 to 5 development objectives. So a number of things that the coaches identify on site that they believe can help you to evolve as an athlete and as a person beyond this training series. So the concept here is that you share that feedback with your primary coaches, be that school or club, so that your development can continue. So no longer the USA volleyball programs about just attending a clinic and it stops as you leave. The programs now are about enabling your development to continue at and in between these sessions, and that's a really critical component for you to be aware of. So there's the focus on that is absolutely critical. So the coaches can't teach you everything in 4 days, but they can certainly introduce a number of concepts and thoughts and principles for you to take away from the programming. So it'd be great to have you join us in Anaheim at the National Training Centre, a phenomenal place for this kind of program. So be prepared to learn, to grow, to fail positively, and be open to the care and attention and expertise that these coaching staffs are committed to offering you over the 4 days. Thanks, Jordan.
No, that's brilliant. Love listening to you speak about IDPs, Todd. So thank you for your time. The last bit that we have here is just, again, highlighting our social. So this is our Instagram handle here. And so for those of you who have or have not participated with the program or don't already know, we try and do our best to create a celebratory space here for the athletes, coaches, and staff who help out with the program. So if you haven't already, it's at USAV_NTDP. You can already see a lot of exciting coverage of our U19 and U21 beach teams as they're competing over in Thailand. And we'll do the same for the winter training series. We'll even have one of our comms colleagues on site, Laura, helping us to gather content. So you might even be asked to be interviewed if you're okay with that, and that's something you'd be interested in. But really just with the intent of celebrating you as the athletes and those involved with the program. So with that brings us to the end. I know that's a lot of information. And if you're still here with us, thank you for all of your time being here. But I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen and we can just open up the floor to any questions or comments that anyone might have here in the meeting. All right, well, I think with no questions coming up, again, you'll get our contact info for any specific questions that you might need additional info on. And thank you all again for attending this town hall. Take care.